I know he did that because I could smell it on him. Everything is counted. I knew somebody who would say to his wife, how many pieces of toilet paper do you use? You don't need any more than one. He is behaving in such a parsimonious manner that it's just like somebody having terrible BO plus smelly feet, and you just can't bear it. He is becoming an embarrassment because, believe me, he is not quiet when he's harumphing, when he's complaining. And it's embarrassing. It is no good constantly saving for a rainy day, because the rainy days are here. Tell me, does this sound familiar to you? Your husband says, we're going to go out for a lovely meal. And you say, oh, lovely. And you get ready and he gets ready. And you get to the restaurant. You've had your starter. You're drinking a glass of wine. The waiter comes over to your table and does the unthinkable. He tops up your glasses. Suddenly, your husband is glaring at the waiter, who hasn't noticed at all, but you've noticed, and your heart sinks. You think, what on earth is the matter with him? What has happened? What have I done? I mean, it's usually me, so what have I done? You say, what's the matter? He says, that waiter is trying to get me to buy another bottle. Well, I'm not having it. I'm just not having it. He sits there and he harumphs, all of that. And you feel embarrassed for one thing. You hope nobody else is watching this scene unfold in front of them. And you feel embarrassed. You say, well, why do you think that? Well, he keeps on topping up our glasses. I'm not having it. I'm not buying another bottle. So the next time the waiter comes over, you put your hand over your glass, just so that the waiter doesn't top your glass up. You ever done that? You have changed your behavior because of your husband. Or, okay, let's try this one. You decide you're going to go to Costa Coffee. I say Costa Coffee because it's a common brand in the United Kingdom. There seems to be one on every corner. You go there and you say to him, oh, I really fancy a piece of carrot cake and a nice cappuccino. You look at his face and he's miserable. He's clearly angry about something. You try not to ask him. So you get up to the counter and you're just about to order the cappuccino. And he says, I don't know why you're ordering that. It's 90% milk. You could have hot milk at home if you wanted it. Why didn't you have black coffee? And actually, instead of saying, I don't like black coffee, you order the black coffee because you know he's going to be thoroughly miserable the entire time you're in the coffee shop, and you just can't bear it. He is becoming an embarrassment because, believe me, he is not quiet when he's harumphing, when he's complaining, and it's embarrassing. Have you done that? Is that the second thing you've changed about yourself to accommodate your husband's behavior? Now, this is, especially if you're old, actually, especially if you're old. Now, this friend of mine, he's in his 80s, she's in her 70s, and he is behaving in such a parsimonious manner that it's just like somebody having terrible BO plus smelly feet. You can imagine, can't you? He's sitting there whinging and whining and gesticulating, and it's just making the entire process painful and embarrassing. It is embarrassing. You're out with somebody who is going to be perceived as a grumpy old so-and-so, and you're with them. Well, This is coercive financial control. He is changing your behavior by his miserable behavior. You are changing increment by increment. When this happens, you don't usually notice it. It happens so gradually that it takes only one day, 2 or 3 years down the line, when you feel like this man you're living with, that you're married to, is robbing you of any joy you can get out of living. Everything is counted. I knew somebody who would say to his wife, "How many pieces of toilet paper do you use? You don't need any more than one." I mean, honest to God, that is true. He did say that to her. And you think, I'm old. My husband is old. If he's saving for his old age, then we are in it already. When will be our time to sit back and enjoy the fruits of our labour? We should be finding the joy at this time of our life. And if we put up with these sort of things, I'll give you a hint. Nothing is going to change. Nothing at all. In fact, it will only get worse. What was the cake and the coffee? What was the glass of wine? Will not stop. It will filter through to, well, I'm not going out for a meal. You could cook. I used to get that when I had the 3 children, little, and we'd been out all day and I was tired, and I'd say to my first husband, "Oh gosh, I'm so tired. Can we get fish and chips?" And he said, "Well, you can make them." He just didn't get it. He just didn't want to be bothered to help me out, to go down the road, buy fish and chips for us all, and that would be that. I had to make them. It is just being mean. And yet, if he were going out with his friends on a Friday evening, then he had no problem stopping and getting a burger or getting this, that, and the other for him and his friends whilst I was staying at home. I know he did that because I could smell it on him. I could smell the fast food takeaway on his breath. It's not that he is mean. It's just that he is being mean with you. He is being mean with you because you put up with it. With his friends, he can be incredibly generous, buying the rounds in, buying this, buying that. He is the epitome of the good man. But not at home, where it would count. So what I'm saying to you next is crucial. And unless you take responsibility for saying what you want, when you want it, you will only get more of the same. He will say to you, "Well, I'm saving our money so that when I die, you will have plenty to live on." Well, what about today? What he's doing is robbing you of the joy that you could both have together today, just in case he dies before you. It is no good constantly saving for a rainy day, because the rainy days are here. Unless we make the most of our life here and now, there will be no future for us. If he is so entrenched in this BO smelly feet type of behavior, say to him, "I really do think we could do with going to counselling." If you're saying to your husband, "Can we go out and can we do this, that, and the other?" and he says, "No, I don't want to," and he's always saying that, then how about saying to him, "I don't want to get to the end of my life and find myself having been disappointed by you. I don't want you to be a disappointment. I want us to do things together. I don't want to leave it until on my deathbed I say to you, I really wish you'd come dancing with me, or I really wish you had done the craft class with me so that we could do it together and we could have talked about it afterwards. We would have had a shared hobby. If you haven't tried it, you can't know that you won't enjoy it. Today is the first day of the rest of our lives, and especially when you're my age, 69, and my husband is 85. If we are waiting until, he might feel like it, then we could be waiting forever. I watched a video the other day, and this man was talking about his wife, who was in a hospice, and just before she died, she said, I wish we had done something together when I was well. I wish we had done the craft class or the dancing class or whatever it was. And she wasn't chastising him. She was just saying, I wish we'd done it. And I was telling my husband about it. And I said, I would really love to do a craft class with you, maybe pottery or something. I really would. And he said, no, I don't fancy that. And I said, well, what about a dance class? You can dance. I know you love dancing, but I can't. I'm not comfortable dancing unless it's on my own, and then I do have rhythm. So he said, and so I just thought, well, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it to percolate. And I went upstairs to edit my video. 2 hours later, my husband walks up the stairs and he's talking as he's walking up the last few stairs, and he says, guess where there is Sarok? And that's the dance class that I wanted to go to. Guess where Sarok is being held around here? And I said, well, probably in London and probably in Guildford, because that's where I used to go to the dance classes. And he said, no, there's one 15 minutes down the road. So not only had he got onto his phone and done the research, he had found out that there was parking there. He had found out the directions, what day of the week it was on, how much it would cost us to go, and how much it was to join. And you know what? I was so delighted. I was so delighted that he would take the trouble to do that for me. So last Wednesday, we went to the dance class, and it was scary because I am a terrible, terrible dancer, and we were both worried that we wouldn't be any good, and we weren't any good, just so you know. But after 2 hours of tuition, we were hot, we were sticky, and we were ready to go home. But we are committed to going to 6 dance classes, and hopefully by then our feet will match what is going on in our brain. And hopefully we'll be able to start dancing properly by then. But he listened to me. That's the thing. He listened to what I was saying and he put it into action. He didn't just say, well, out of the 2 choices, I don't like this and I don't like that. He chose one that was more attuned to his own abilities. And so we're going. And I feel that it has given us both something to look forward to in the middle of the week. We always need to say what we would like, because if we leave it to our husbands or our partners to work out what we want, then we are not being kind. How can he work out what to do to please us if we don't say? So what I'm saying is, Instead of putting your hand over your empty glass, instead of saying, okay, well, I'll have a black coffee and actually no cake. Instead of being complicit in his meanness, stick to your guns and say, no, I'd still prefer a cappuccino. 90% milk or no, I would like a cappuccino, please, because I like the taste. And then ignore his harumphing. A bit like a toddler, if you say, no, you can't have one of those. They might sit down on the floor, they might scowl, and they might do all the things that toddlers do. But at the end of the day, if they're not receiving the attention they feel that they need, then they will stop. They will realize that the mother is not giving in. So what's the point? Does he sit in front of the TV all day with the news channel on? And of course, we know that all the news channels are just pumping out miserable news day in, day out. And he's sitting there railing at the world, being miserable, being negative. And if you sit there next to him, you'll become full of anxiety and unhappy. Say to him, I'm going to do something more cheerful because I don't want to be a part of this misery 24/7. If you've spent years being invisible in your marriage, then it's time to start to change. Stop smoothing things over. Find your voice. If you want the cappuccino, buy the cappuccino. The world doesn't end if you have a coffee. Remember, negativity is contagious. If he wants to sit there being negative and feeling unhappy and grumpy, let him. But don't take part in it. You might think, well, he's too old to change. If you went to counselling, it's not about going there to fix him. It's about going there to find your own voice. You never know. They might tell him that his thriftiness is just being mean and it's hurting your relationship. There are no pockets in a shroud after all. Remember, relationships don't die from one big explosion. They die from 1,000 unordered cappuccinos. If he says that counselling is too expensive, remind him just how expensive divorce can be, and counselling is far cheaper. You, darling, deserve a happy ending to your own story. Stop asking for permission to behave as you want to in your own life. The world will not end when you find your own voice. If you have experienced those scenarios, let me know in the comments, or something different. And how have you handled it? And if you have been, thanks for watching. Lots of love. Bye-bye.